Welcome to the Illuminations Media Network.
Welcome back to the Illuminations Media Network. This is Tamara Westwood, your host, and I'm truly excited to have you back again for a very fascinating show. Today we're going to be speaking about healing, which is one of my favorite subjects. And the subject today is autism spectrum disorder. And we're speaking to my good friend, Dr. Raji, all the way from India. We'll be right back after this brief message, and you can learn so much more on this amazing topic.
Now is the time to unleash the power of your mind and start feeling amazing. Boost your confidence, lose weight, stop smoking, release stress, and more. Visit beyondhypnosis.org and experience how hypnotherapy, merged with light and sound technology, can take you to higher levels of emotional and physical well-being. That's beyondhypnosis.org.
And we're back, right here on the Illuminations Media Network with my guest, Dr. Raji. Dr. Raji, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. And since you're brand new to the Illuminations Media Network family, I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about how you moved into the direction of healing autism.
Hi, Tamara. Thank you for having me on your show. Lovely to hear your voice here. So I'll just jump straight in and introduce myself, as you rightly said. Basically, I'm trained as a medical doctor with a medical degree qualification from India. And later on, I got into alternative forms of healing, especially energy medicine, and have experience of over 25 years. And right now, I would call myself an autism expert, because past few years I've been focused on autism and healing children with autism from all over the world. From over 25 countries in the world, I've been doing healing, and having healed over more than 100 children. And I especially help non-verbal autistic children speak in 10 sessions or less, 10 healing sessions or less. I've also written a book, How to Heal Autism and ADHD in 30 Days, the phenomenally powerful breakthrough of intent healing. And I'm the founder of Authentic Autism Solutions and the pioneer of my own healing method that I call intent healing.
Oh, that is quite a story there. But in the green room, we spoke a little bit deeper about that personal story, about your father and how he moved you into the healing aspect of helping people to reach their full potential with health. Could you please share that sweet story?
Yeah, actually what happened was, like I was saying, I was training to be a medical doctor, and during which time my father fell ill. And when he fell ill, we started, exploring the reason for his symptoms and all that. And we discovered that it was because of the side effects of the medicines he was being given and he was taking regularly on a daily basis for his asthmatic condition. And because of the side effects of those medicines, he developed a whole lot of other complications. And that's when I got interested, in alternative forms of healing or alternative therapies that would help my father. So we started exploring other forms of healing, and I just kind of stumbled upon, energy healing methods. And he too was interested, and we both started experimenting, so to speak, on each other. Like I would do healing for him, he would do healing for me, and we would feel the energy, sense the energies, play with the energies, and that's how we both got interested. And he got better and better and better as he was experimenting with all this, and we were doing all of this healing stuff. And what was most interesting for me to see was that he was so passionate about all this, because he was feeling energy. I would say he was a natural healer. It is just that this incident or whatever it is with respect to his illness just opened up the avenue for him to discover that, and for me to learn so much more from him. Because what was interesting was that he healed so many people of so many ailments, which medical science could not prove, as to how he was doing all of this. So that's how I got really very passionately involved with energies, and the aspect of applying excited me so much, applying all of this with my background knowledge in medicine. And I wanted to see how to enhance the lives of people without them having to take medicines and suffer from the side effects of medicine. medicines. And naturally, I started gravitating more towards natural forms of tapping into the body's innate mechanisms of healing and all of that. And so that's how it was a wonderful opportunity for me to learn, what I learned from my father, because I always say this. My medical training, was training me to be a doctor, trained me to be a doctor or a physician, while my father was the one who taught me how to be a healer. Oh. And so that was a wonderful journey that, I shared with my father. And after that, even now I say that, I can feel his presence. It's his healing energies that flows through me, because it was I could see that he wanted to help so many people. And even later on when he passed on also, like it wasn't like he's not there. I've never felt his absence. That's the most, amazing experience that I've had with respect to death and dying. And, that was my first experience of how the energies feel when a person ostensibly is not here in the physical form, but yet that person is there in their wholeness and fullness right here. Even now I feel his presence. So I've never felt his absence at all, and I've always felt him in all his fullness flowing through all my healings that I'm doing even today.
Well, I welcome both of you to the Illuminations Media Network family.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I'm just so appreciative. It's, when I was reading, I'd have to tell you, family, the way I found Raji was that I was doing some research on autism spectrum, so-called disease, so-called disorder. And I just started thinking that perhaps it's not a disease or a disorder. It may be just the next step in our human development, adaptation, evolution, or however you want to phrase it. And I was reading through Raji's work, and I said, she's saying the same stuff that I was thinking. A lot of it I was afraid to say aloud, certainly. Because,
I can completely relate to that.
But I just get that sense. And in talking with you in the green room, you've helped me to really feel comfort in that feeling and believing that, yes, that these children are showing up for a reason, and that it is for us to learn how to communicate with them and how to fortify them and to strengthen them so that they can function to their best capability, and also to help us. I mean, it seems that they are here to catapult and help mankind. You speak about the energies and the vibrational frequencies. We know that everything is energy. But in your article, especially the one that I quoted in a post that I did on my blog, on my website, if you guys want to read it, you want to go to beyondhypnosis.org, and it's the March 18th post. And it's the one that's speaking about the scientific research where scientists are actually discovering that reprogramming human DNA can happen through words and frequencies. And in that article, they actually quote Dr. Raji's work. And so I would love for you to talk a bit about that, about those frequencies, and how these children are dealing with and managing the frequencies, and what's really going on in the families, and how you're able to help them.
Yeah, like you rightly said, everything is energy. We start from there. So let's define, okay, what is autism really in energy terms, actually, because that's what matters here, because that's what is working here, because I'm working at the level of energies. So what is autism? Autism is not a developmental disorder or a lifelong developmental disorder with no cure. That is not what it is. So what is it? It is an energy state of being. And it's a unique energy signature. So at the lower frequencies, the limiting symptoms dominate. And at the higher frequencies, the gifts and talents of this autistic people bloom and the autistic person thrives. So basically, it's an energy state of being, or a frequency where at different frequencies, different manifestations, manifest to the autistic person. And what is happening here is that the one key word or the phrase that will help us understand them better is energy sensitivity. So autistic beings or autistic children are born with this innate ability to be able to sense and feel energies in a much more amplified manner, in a much more accelerated manner when compared to the so-called neurotypical or normal people. So that acts as a double-edged sword. It is a gift as well as the reason for all the limiting symptoms that they experience. Meaning, because they are highly energy sensitive, they're highly energy sensitive to the energy disturbances in the people around them and also in the environment around them. So those act as triggers to precipitate all the symptoms in the child or the person with autism, because the person is highly energy sensitive and they get disturbed by all this, and what they experience is energetic stress. Mm-hmm. So in simple terms, because the autistic person is highly energy sensitive, they're always tuning into the energies of people around them, especially their primary caregivers, their parents, and they sense their energies, they feel their energies, their energy boundaries are poor, they get affected by those energies. And if those energies are stressful, it manifests as those, or it reflects as those limiting symptoms in the person with autism. So my approach is very simple. It's like maths. Okay, energy disturbance causes energetic stress in the person, and that energetic stress manifests as a limiting symptoms. So what is the solution? Correct the energy disturbances. Correct the energy disturbances, the energetic stress is corrected, the symptoms just vanish. It's as simple as that.
As simple as that.
Yeah. And which is why I work with the parents first, and and even before I start the sessions for the child, you start seeing improvements in the child.
That is amazing. Now, you mentioned previously that from your first experience with this very first child that you worked with, and I'll just let you go ahead and tell the story about how the child started singing.
Yeah. It was such a dramatic experience. Maybe that's why I'm so hooked on to this, and especially with respect to nonverbal autism, I'm going deeper and deeper into it, and I'm discovering so many things that are simply mind-blowing. So how it all started with that child, like you said, I can understand why you're feeling, why you feel so connected, and, you want to share this story with the rest of your audience as well. Is what happened was that, this was early days when I was experimenting with energies, and how I started was my regular patients who used to come to me, and they used, especially with pain, and then I would just offer this as an alternative. I would say, if you're open to it, if you don't want to keep on taking medicines anyway, you're not seeing improvements, why don't you just try this? If you want, I can do this healing and let's see if it works. And that's how I was experimenting during those days. And one child got referred to me with a diagnosis of nonverbal autism. And Tamara, believe it or not, at that time I was wondering, okay, what is this autism? Okay. Almost 10 years now. Because even in medical college, I just don't remember. Maybe it was just there, somewhere just mentioned once, and we just forget about it. I don't even remember answering any paper or question, even in the psychiatric course, where they talk about autism. So it was like, okay, what is this condition? So I started, exploring that. But the way the child presented to me was very interesting. He's not speaking, and everything else is normal. So then the father just told me one thing. He said, I honestly don't know what you're doing or how this is going to work. But then, he had confidence in me because I was a trained medical doctor. So obviously, I feel like, my child is in safe hands. So he said, I don't know how you're going to do or what you're going to do. And I just honestly don't care about it. I just care about only one thing. Please tell me, will my child speak?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I said, okay, wait, I'll just make an assessment. I assess the energies of the child, the parents. And at that time, from my understanding, I just told him that, I'm able to see those disturbances, energy disturbances. So my understanding is very simple. I try to keep everything very simple and down to the basics because, ultimately that's all that matters. So I just told them energy disturbances are there, which is why I'm not surprised it's manifesting as some limiting symptoms. So once you correct those energy disturbances, the symptoms has to disappear. This is my understanding. So if you're open to it, we'll go ahead and, correct those energy disturbances and let's see what happens. And they were willing, to try this out. And we did that. And it so happened that, just after this conversation, the family had to move to the US. And once they moved to the United States, we started the sessions. It's only after that we started the sessions, actually, for the child. And we used to coordinate, and everything was done as remote healing. And before long, he had a whole lot of list of symptoms, not being potty trained and, hyperactive and this, that, and the other. So many symptoms were there. But the symptom that vanished first, or let's just say what happened first as a progress, what he started singing. So that completely...
I can imagine the parents, the moment they heard him, I imagine they went running.
They just couldn't wait.
Right? And they started calling everybody. And
yes. I was listening and I was just... in perfect pitch and perfect tone, and a person who's more musically has a more elaborate musical vocabulary would say that was just perfect.
Wow.
Singing. And then I got really interested in all of this, and eventually all his other symptoms disappeared. Although my interest, practically speaking, was that I wanted the potty training issue to be sorted out first, because he was on diapers, and it's such a, what shall I say, on a day-to-day basis, I felt that needs to go first, but that's not what happened. He started singing first.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'm sure that was music
then
to their ears.
Then he went out to a normal school, yeah.
Yes. Most definitely. Well, you speak about getting the energies corrected. That the energy fields are out of whack, and there are all these disturbances, and you get them corrected, and you get them corrected remotely. Now that's amazing.
Actually, Tamara, see, all of us, like you, again, coming back to the statement that you made, and which is, I would say that's the only fact that needs to be taught in schools, that everything is energy. Mm-hmm. You have to start from there. So if everything is energy, then you start exploring. And then when actually physics has discovered this as well, quantum physics, that we have learned about atoms and, subatomic particles. So you go deep down, okay, atoms, atomic level, subatomic level, then you go deeper down and see, okay, beyond the subatomic level, what is there? What they have discovered is that everything is existing in the form of energies.
Yes.
And at that level of energies, that's one thing. And at that level of energies, everything is connected to everything else in the universe.
Right.
So everything is interconnected. It's this energy soup that is there. Literally, that's what we are swimming in, literally, or we are living in.
Right.
So there is a way by which then comes the next question. How can we access that level, and to be able to see or feel or sense or communicate or connect at the level of energies? And that's what intrigued me, and that's what took me in this direction of exploring energies, feeling, sensing, seeing, hearing, all of that. And then I discovered. Or actually, everybody can discover this. It just depends upon their interest and their passions, because I teach parents as well how to do the, healing and, feel energy and all of that for themselves as well. So at that level, when you go, it's a meditative state, and you go to that level, you can connect to anything and everything. And then you realize there is nothing called time, there is nothing called space, everything is here and now.
And so, Raji, yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just needed to slow you down just for a moment so that we can all catch up with you. Now, this is where intention comes in.
Absolutely.
That certainly everything has its own frequency or energetic signature, if you will. Right?
Yes, you're right.
That is individuated. We all have our different, like, I have 2 children, and they're adults now, but each of them has their own smell, their own little scent, and they still do as adults, and I know their smell. Yeah. And
it's wonderful. It makes perfect sense to me. Perfect sense.
It's amazing. And so when you think about that each person, like, say, the child, the little boy that you healed, that first one who started singing, he has a certain signature. His parents have their own signature. And the disturbances happen when they're not jiving, when they're not in sync. And
when they're not in alignment, with their own energy or signature.
Mm-hmm. And so when you get to that place, I mean, apparently this is a meditative process, especially to do it remotely. You get to that place and you're going to the subatomic level, you are intending on that particular signature.
Absolutely. The thing is, it's interesting that, you rightly reined me in and brought in the term intention here, because what I call, I say I'm the pioneer of intent healing. How that happened is I started asking myself the very same question that you asked me here, how am I doing this? Okay. Okay, I'm doing this. I'm able to go to that level. I'm able to connect. I'm able to feel the energy. I'm able to feel the energy disturbances. I'm correcting those disturbances. Symptoms are vanishing. All of that is fine. But how am I doing it? Then when I meditated, I realized that, it is just my intention. It's just my intention that I want that person to be their whole self, their complete self, their healthy self, their thriving self, because that's the way I see them.
Yes.
At that level of energy, that's all I see.
Oh, right there.
Really, that's
right
all
there,
I see.
Raji. So you are ignoring, or if someone from the Judeo-Christian belief would say, you are turning the other cheek away from the disturbance, and you are holding the intention on what you want to see for this child or this person.
What I'm already seeing for the child.
Yes.
Okay, that is a space I hold, and that person's energies, once it raises and resonates with that perfection. Okay?
Wow. It can't help but do that.
Yeah. It's impossible when a person is so intensely focused on you and is able to see only your perfect who you are, your true self. It is impossible for anything other than your true self to exist there.
Well,
all this
family,
so-called disorder, limitation, all that. It's just illusion.
Family, I think we need a moment of silence right here, because I'm just about to scream. So I think I'd rather be silent and take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I mean, there is this huge bright light of clarity, and I'm hoping that everyone out there who is in earshot of this show, whether you're listening right now or you're listening 2 minutes from now, 15 years from now, no matter where you are, that you got this. That you have the power to turn away from the imbalance, from what's wrong, from what you are not liking, just by standing firmly grounded in what it is that you want to create. Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love it.
To be able to, I would say I just help people to be able to see themselves the way I see them in all their wholeness, and the way the universe sees them, or consciousness, or whatever, God, whatever you want to call it. I can see only that. So that's why, I was not getting it. I mean, I can see that there's nothing wrong with this child. I can see that there's nothing wrong with you, even the parents.
Right.
I just help them to see themselves in that light, in their wholeness, in their completeness.
Yes.
Once they resonate with that frequency, that unique signature frequency of their individual, unique, self-intentions that they have come forth on this planet to manifest, then it's impossible for anything other than that to exist in that space.
It's impossible.
Yeah. Utterly impossible.
Wow. This is so beautiful. This is even more than what I envisioned. So, all in divine time. This is absolutely gorgeous. Now we're speaking about what is the actuality of what is truth, and we turn away from what is false. There's a lot of talk and a lot of belief out in the world. Of people. There are coalitions and support groups for parents of children who are demonstrating the autistic spectrum, that they are blaming a lot of these things on the pesticides, on the water, on the vaccines, food allergies. A lot of people are improving the well-being of the children with different diets and things. What is your perspective on those ideas?
I would say there are two aspects to this, Tamara. One is that, being energy sensitive, and the other thing is all of these that you mentioned, pesticides, vaccines, etc., acting as triggers. triggers for the manifestation of those symptoms in a person who is energy sensitive.
Yes.
And at the same time, there is also this adaptation and adaptability that is going on. So there is a middle ground with all of this. So no matter what happens, humanity will survive, and human evolution is going in the right direction. It is just that these autistic children have come, or all these autistic beings have come forth for us to be able to recognize and realize, to what extent extremes we have gotten into, and to get back into balance.
Wow.
So with respect to pesticides and vaccines and everything, we are reaching that point of balance where we can know for ourselves, what is working, what is not working, how much is necessary, how much is unnecessary, how much is actually pollution, and how to get back into balance and all of that. All of that is happening. So it's a question of, I wouldn't say that, pesticides don't cause the symptoms, or vaccines are not the root cause. It's not like that. It's more of how energy sensitive the person is, and whether there has to be this primary field of energy sensitivity for all of these other factors to trigger those symptoms in that person.
Yes.
So it's a combination of both, and all truths are true. There is something to all of this. At the same time, we need to, I would say, bring the focus back into getting back into balance. And that's happening, isn't it? All over the world, people are, exploring organic methods of farming and everything, and reducing pesticides use, and even vaccines. People are revisiting and seeing, how much of it is really working, not working. So I think we're reaching a balance point where the evolved human being, so to speak, will be able to adapt and come to this new level. It'll be a totally new level from which state we'll be able to progress, on a much more energy sensitive path that is in harmony with us being able to lead our lives, in more natural forms, naturally.
Yes, and a lot of times we do have to get a little trigger. We do need to be poked and prodded a little bit to make a change.
Absolutely. It's very true, because these children, being energy sensitive, they just reflect back to you whatever is not okay.
Exactly.
So we can come back into balance.
Well, speaking about children, and so makes me think about genes and about future generations. And certainly there are concerns about the chemicals and how they're, affecting us epigenetically. But how about these vibrational frequencies? Are these frequencies, say in the African American community here in America, our history. There were several generations of chattel slavery. And I think in India there's the caste system. There's something that's similar that's gone on there too. And so there are generations of people who have been wounded, who have been oppressed. And there's a vibrational signature of oppression, of being an outcast, of being enslaved. And so with what you're doing, in looking at this energetic signature, certainly it can be passed down and it can be healed.
Absolutely. Which is why, if you see, all these, especially with respect to autism, to understand this from the perspective of autism would be the perfect way to do it, because each one of these children is unique.
Yes.
Which means there is so much of diversity. Okay, so everything has its place, including, the caste or whatever it is, culturally speaking, whatever is there, everything has its place, its own uniqueness, its own value. And at the same time, we are all connected as human beings, so to speak. So although, like you said, it may be there in the genes, or more than genes, I would say, the energetic frequencies that hold this this feeling of oppression or being, a victim of circumstances and all that, all that can be completely healed when you experience who you truly are. And you're able to see yourselves as whole and complete, is when you'll be able to help the other person, see themselves as whole and complete.
Right.
There is value to everything. as a result of whatever, our past generations, especially, like you said, in your cultural setup, or, in your past, what they have experienced, the oppression and everything. As a result of all of that, there is so much of, what would I say, asking for harmony and, to be respected and to be valued as equal in the face of diversity and everything. And right now we are in those exciting times where it's possible to heal all of that and actually, value each person for who they really are.
Right.
Which is what everybody is also. Whoever else is also there, the oppressor or the perpetrator of the crime and the victim. Both of them are participants in all of this.
Yes, indeed.
And
there is no perpetrator.
Role reversals as well.
Right? There is no perpetrator without a victim.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So when you come from that understanding of that state of balance, or let's say when you're able to see both sides of the coin, and when you come to that state of balance from that, or let's just say, I would say, coming from the hilltop view, standing on the hilltop, you're able to see both sides.
Yes.
And
indeed.
then you know where this person is headed, where that person is headed, in which direction.
Yes.
And then you know how to help them make course corrections and, meet where they need to meet.
Right.
So when you're able to see both sides, and at the same time, you're not judging either side.
Right. Cutting loose the judgments, because certainly we all are, we're manifestations of our circumstances.
And beliefs.
And our socialization and the experiences. And so when we can break those down and unpack them and look at the fact that, hey, everyone is doing what they feel is best in the moment for themselves, so we begin to understand that and clear that away, and then forgiveness can actually happen, and we can see people as they actually are, as you say, the whole perfect and complete being that's still in process. Right?
Yeah.
We're still
definitely
developing.
yes. Which is why there is an amplification of all of this world over, isn't it? Whenever, wherever you see all this, it looks like as if it's the worst of the times to live, and yet it's the best of the times to live as well.
Oh yes, most definitely.
Because it's an opportunity for everything to really be cleansed out of our systems and regrouping again.
Right. And sometimes you have to go all the way to the extreme of one end in order to come back to the middle. Right.
And human beings are like that, isn't it?
Aren't we interesting? We learn by contrast. Okay, now I know what I don't want, so I can figure out what I do want.
Absolutely. And there is this kind of rubber band effect, isn't it? See, when you go to really stretch, somewhere you have to let go and come back to normal.
Yes. This is so
New
true.
normal.
This is so... Girl, you're my soul sister from another mother. I know it. I know it.
Yeah, I feel it too. It's resonance. Nothing is an accident.
Oh, not at all.
And there are no coincidences. Yeah.
Well, in speaking about certainly autism, and now we've been educated about energy, and that autism is all about disturbances in the frequency. What about ADHD? Because, the other part of your book and what you do is to heal autism and ADHD. What is the connection there?
Yeah, see, like you said, you brought the attention back to the title of my book, How to Heal Autism and ADHD in 30 Days, the phenomenally powerful breakthrough of intent healing. The reason why, that I included the term ADHD as well is, in the earlier days when I was doing the healing, with these children, or when they used to get referred to me with the diagnosis or with the label of autism, invariably what would happen is that, or they were in the process of being diagnosed or being investigated to see if the child was autistic. In parents, where they went to the physician and the medical practitioner, whoever was examining, and then they were told, okay, given the diagnosis, your child is autistic. In the same sentence, in the same breath, invariably the medical practitioner would also say there is no cure for this, or it's a lifelong developmental disorder. So once they hear both verdicts or statements made in the same sentence, okay, your child has autism and there is no cure for this, it's a lifelong developmental disorder, then the parents' energies, the disturbances just skyrocket, they just go haywire. And that would manifest as these symptoms of ADHD in the child. This was my observation.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, first the child comes and, now the symptoms are worsening and the child is also becoming hyperactive. Now, what is happening here? So when I started investigating and, I was really observing in which set of parents this was happening, this is what I discovered. And so when again, the root cause being the same for both. Energy disturbance. Once you correct the energy disturbance, when address all of these in the parents, and the parents are able to see, yes, there is a solution. And so their energies also, become calmer and come into harmony and balance and all of that. All the symptoms of both autism and ADHD disappear, the limiting symptoms.
Wow.
So that is how, this works. And before I proceed again, I want to clarify here that when I say a cure for autism, what I mean is curing all the limiting symptoms in autism. And what I mean by limiting symptoms is this varies from on a case-by-case basis. Any symptom that is preventing that particular child from being able to thrive would be limiting in that child. So the very same symptom that could be limiting in one child and preventing that autistic child from being able to thrive. In another child, the very same symptom need not necessarily be limiting if it's not, preventing that child from thriving. So which is why we need to address this on a case-by-case basis. Yes. That's what I mean by autism cure, is curing all of this that is preventing the child from living their best lives.
And in psychology, there's something that when you work with a child, you also work with the parents, because there's something called the family system. And, a lot of times parents will bring the child in and say, hey, fix my child. But we know that it is a family system. And you have deepened that understanding. You've enriched that, because the child can't help but respond to the changes and fluctuations and disturbances in the parents' frequencies. And so that would make perfect sense. If you work with the child, but those parents, they're also very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is my whole approach is this. It's very simple. I mean, you which is why I also say that you see results from day one. Right from day one. Why? Because we are going to the root cause.
Yes.
So it's only when you go to because many of these families, I mean, like you also have experienced the same. They try just about everything, and what is kind of, I would say, it does not make any sense, is keep repeating the same things that do not work.
Right, that's insanity.
So what is the point in repeating this therapy and that therapy and what all and what not, when you can see that it's not showing any results? Why is that happening? Mm-hmm. It's because it's not the therapy, it's the energy of the therapist. It's energy that matters. Mm-hmm. So you go to the root cause, address it from the level of energies. Right from day one, you see the results. That's how you know how powerful all of this energy-based approach to dealing with these conditions is.
Wow. This is absolutely, absolutely so important. I want everyone to get out there and get your book, and I want everyone to follow you on social media wherever you are. Raji,
yeah, YouTube. YouTube would be the best place, I would say.
Awesome. So please share your website address, any resources that you can share with parents or anyone who needs the support here, and also the YouTube channel.
Okay, I'll start with the YouTube channel because, right away they can go there and start watching the videos where I've explained, for example, one video I've explained how to help the child make eye contact, or what is happening with the child. There's a very common symptom, the child not making eye contact. So my YouTube channel is Authentic Autism Solutions. So they can head over there and, watch the videos and learn more about this and start applying all of that right from today and start seeing the improvements in their child. And of course, there's my book, How to Heal Autism and ADHD in 30 Days, the phenomenally powerful breakthrough of intent healing. And they can order it through my website. It is an ebook, only in ebook format. So they can order it through my website, which is AuthenticAutismSolutions.com. I have other websites as well, saujanya.in and intenthealing.com. But with respect to autism, this is a main site because everything here is focused only on autism. AuthenticAutismSolutions.com. And I have my blog there as well. They can go through the articles there. And I'm also there on Facebook. They can connect with me on Facebook, Heal Autism Now Foundation. And they can explore all of this. And right now I'm excited about, I'm launching a membership program, monthly membership Autism Cure series. So Authentic Autism Solutions membership program, Autism Cure series. I'm excited about this because through this, I'm offering my services to more people on a monthly basis. Every month there will be one healing session, and people can register for this, and they can experience the healing energies. Whatever I've described here, whatever we have been discussing and I've been describing and all of that, they can actually get to experience it and see the effect for themselves, in themselves and in their child.
Excellent.
So that's what I'm excited about, and that's also there. They can register through my website. So these are the places they can benefit right from today through my website and through my YouTube channels.
Very, very good. And please know that if you missed any of that, you can always rewind. But in the description of the show here on the Illuminations Media Network, I am going to make sure I put all the links in that description area so that you can get it. I'm also going to put this on my YouTube channel to reach more and more people so we can get the word out here. Now, the question that I have is that we can join in and we can get the experiences, we can subscribe and have the monthly healings. But how can we learn to do what you are doing? Are you going to be training people to do this intention healing?
Yeah, absolutely. For example, so far what I've been doing is when I work with the parents, in the first session, the one-on-one session, private healing sessions that I do, that is another way people can access me and access these energies and benefit right from day one and see the results. In the first session, I realign their energies and they get to experience, what it is that I'm talking about, how they are supposed to feel, whole and complete, all these terms, experientially, how they are supposed to feel. So they get to experience how it feels like to be in an aligned state of energies. That becomes their new frame of reference. And in the very next session, I initiate them into intent healing. So I initiate them and I teach them how to do the intent healing, self-healing. So they go empowered with this tool, and then they start doing the healing on themselves, and believe it or not, just by doing this 10 minutes self-healing on themselves with intent healing, they start seeing their improvements in their child.
That is so awesome. My grandmother used to have a saying, and the family here on the Illuminations Media Network knows all about my grandmother's metaphysical sayings.
Wow.
and one that she would say, they would do better if they knew better. And what you are bringing to the world is actually helping people to feel this better. What is this better that they are supposed to feel? And then when they were able to grab that feeling tone and get a handle on it and know what it is, then they're able to just expand on it and then spread and heal others with this. This is awesome. This is amazing.
Yeah. Because you know what, Tamara, you rightly pointed out, and what your grandmother has shared, with her wisdom, absolutely hit the nail on the head. It is true that, people don't even know how they are supposed to feel. What is normal supposed to feel like?
They don't know.
We don't know.
They're looking for it in coffee and drugs and, and video games and...
Yeah, it's because, world over, culturally and otherwise also, everywhere, some amount of stress is considered as normal. No, you can lead a joyous life. I'm not saying, okay, you don't have to experience stress or whatever, but first you have to get the feeling of what is possible. How are you supposed to feel?
Yes.
And how are you supposed to feel, feeling alive. That is the first step. For the person to, get a sense of why they came here on this planet and what is their birthright. To be able to experience their lives in a joyous manner, to be able to create their lives in a joyous manner, with joy, not with stress. That's
right. In my practice, that's one of the toughest things. It's a huge question. The first question, people come in with their problems. They, as I mentioned before, they know what they don't want. I don't want the weight. I don't want this addiction. I don't want this sad feeling of depression. I don't. But when you ask them, well, what do you want? They have no idea. And so
Absolutely true. True.
yeah, so it's hard. If you don't know, then what are you going to intend to feel? Yeah.
Very true. Or they some of them may be able to articulate and say, I want this, but then they'll give you 100 reasons why they feel they can't get it.
They can't get it, right? Right.
So I tell them, why don't you just tell one reason why you can get it or why you want it?
Just one.
One is enough.
How about it's just because it's what I want?
True.
You are worthy. You are worthy of having that. Yes.
Yeah. Very important, to feel that it's your birthright and what you are describing as worthy. Same thing. True.
Yes, so true. Well, Raji, this has been amazing, and it has been such a gift and such a blessing. I do hope that you will agree to come back on the show at some point.
Absolutely. I had so much fun, and this has expanded the flow of whatever was flowing in terms of what I was sharing. I could feel so much energy when I was speaking about my father. So he's here.
He's there.
I've never really felt his absence anytime, but I felt his presence in a very amplified manner today. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to experience him, his flow in this manner, in this interaction with you. And I would love to connect with you anytime. No problem at all, because it's so easy speaking with you.
It is. There is this flow. There's this flow. And I thank your father, too. What is your father's name?
His name is Kandaswami.
Kandaswami.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Illuminations Media Network, Kandaswami. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been my pleasure. It's been a joy speaking to you here.
And Raji, until next time, and all of you listening, all of you listeners, I just thank you so much for hanging with me through the years, the ups and the downs and the hiatuses, and I'm back. So much love. Until next time on the Illuminations Media Network. Peace and blessings.